Friday fires in capital city. Angau gets land to relocate. CPL Pride of PNG Awards recognizes commitment.
This is National EMTV News with Meribah Tulo.
Good evening. It's the end of the working week and this is Friday's news. The Malaro TST supermarket in Port Moresby was completely burnt to the ground by 1 o'clock this afternoon. When EMTV arrived at the scene, police officers and 2 units of firefighters had arrived and were trying to put out the fire. Hundreds of shoppers who were inside the shop fled the supermarket unhurt. The cost of damages is estimated to be over 3 million kina. Our reporter, Vasinata Yama, was at the scene and files this report.
The Malaro supermarket went up in flames at 11 this morning. According to eyewitnesses, the fire started from the warehouse, which is on the first floor. This is Jason, one of the first eyewitnesses on the scene. Jason, can you tell us what you saw this morning?
Yes, since 11 o'clock I went inside. Then after 5 minutes, I came out. Everybody was rushing at the door. There was a smoke at the warehouse, second floor. Then no one was supposed to stop the fire, so after 5 minutes I called fire emergency. And then after 20 minutes they came and then start killing the fire.
All businesses at Manu Autoport ceased operation when the fire started. Police presence prevented looting and other illegal activities from happening. A disclosed amount of cash and items were burnt to ashes, but the firefighters maintained to contain the fire from spreading. No one was injured, even these 2 dogs who were rescued.
So what we are doing now is to protect the explosives and control the fire from spreading to the residences and also the other buildings and the service stations.
NCD Fire Department Chief Superintendent Akia Koya said despite attempts, the fire went out of control. And with the low water pressure, it took them a longer time to put down the flame. Under the Fire Service Act, the department should conduct fire safety inspection on businesses and residential houses after every 6 months. The fire department confirmed that no inspection have been carried out throughout this year. The fire is the 3rd that happened this year in the city.
What we need to do more is to take up the proactive approach and doing inspections and improving on our inspection and making fire safety a priority to everyone.
This fire has raised the need for business houses to grant fire department the permission to conduct their regular fire inspection. Meanwhile, the cause of fire is yet to be established. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Also in Port Moresby, another fire scare forced tenants of Garden City in Boroko to vacate the building in a rush just before noon today. EMTV studios are located on level 2 of the building and our cameramen were on hand to capture the rush and 2 unlikely heroes.
Security guards were alerted to the fire in the basement of the building by a cleaner who was suspicious of a young man she saw running away from the fire escape. When the guards investigated the fire escape, they discovered smoke and flames. Minutes later, news of the fire spread by word of mouth and employees of the various government and private offices vacated the building in a rush. A huge crowd of concerned onlookers and employees waited in front of Garden City to see what was going to happen next as thick smoke poured out of the window of the fire escape. A siren from the oncoming fire truck was a welcome relief, but that was short-lived as the truck drove away from the direction of Garden City to attend to the supermarket fire at the Malaro market, which began minutes earlier. While fire extinguishers were brought out, only 2 men were brave enough to enter the smoke-filled interior of the fire escape to put the fire out. Kimi Nonguve, a PCS guard on duty with EMTV, and Joel Wanka, a bouncer from a nightclub across the road, soaked their shirts in water to cover their faces and with the help of a flashlight from a mobile phone, made their way into the basement where they put out the flames.
No got money, me to blade, so we made no going said. No got win, smoke fire killing me to blade. Hard looks in win. At least me law, waiting said or some block him no going say.
Them dark, into darkness, hard to look to. Smoke making my work on another line. We feeling me, said, body blue, old no true. How me rescue me late in the consent, like a killing the fire.
The fire truck arrived later to booze from the crowd. It is not known who alerted them and when, but they arrived after the flames were put out. Ray White, who manages the building, said a boy was seen coming out of the door behind me who apparently dropped a cigarette butt on some rubbish that was inside. The incident today also raised some concerns with some tenants who said the fire alarm did not come on to alert them to the fire. However, Ray White said the fire alarm did come on, but it did not progress to evacuate mode because it only detected a small amount of smoke. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
2 probationary police constables who were arrested and charged for discharging a police-issued firearm on November the 13th at Bumbu Market have pleaded not guilty. 9 charges were laid against Alfred Sange and Mark Glenn Cooper. However, they both told Lay's District Court the charges were not true. Lay District Court Magistrate Tera Dawai adjourned this matter to Friday the 11th of December. The adjournment is to allow both the prosecutor and the 2 defendants time to get the witnesses to appear in court. Both men were allowed bail. Deloitte has celebrated its annual World Impact Day by engaging in community service at different organizations in Port Moresby. Today, Deloitte visited the RSPCA Clinic, House of Hope and Bukblong Pikinini centers doing voluntary services to these organizations. This year, over 75 Deloitte staff took time out from the comforts of their offices to do some outdoor activities.
These are some of the Deloitte staff that took part in the company's Impact Day that's also marked at other countries around the world.
The Papua New Guinea Deloitte firm is part of the Australian. This is our 2nd year that we've run it in PNG. We have great participation.
In PNG, more than 75 staff took today off work to help out in the community, doing little roles like packing and storing books at various Bukblong Pikinini centers, donating cooked food to orphanages, and they also paid a visit to the RSPCA clinic.
And just generally raising awareness about the animals. We're also going to help assist them in some administrative tasks.
Most of the organizations Deloitte visited are private owned. They obtain little financial help from business houses.
We get our funding from sponsorship and donations from the business community mainly. And
today's community service help from Deloitte has given a positive impact to the operations of these organizations visited by the accountancy firm.
If we can continue to support him, it's like I work one time by good client.
Last year, Deloitte had its first Impact Day marked in the country with at least 40 staff participating at 2 events. Deloitte has other plans of helping out in many more community services in the city come 2016's Deloitte Impact Day.
Lots of skilled volunteering are planned as well because we noted that loads of training opportunities are missing in these organizations.
Colin Barilai, National EMTV News.
Hospital has been given a certificate of occupancy for land on which a new hospital will be built. The certificate now gives the hospital management and board the legal right to build on the old airport in Ley.
When the Ley airport was moved to Nadzap, the long strip of land in the centre of Ley was left vacant. Luther Sipison, the current acting secretary for Lens, was the provincial surveyor when he ordered the subdivision of land. But the subdivision and the subsequent allocation was not without controversy. Over the last 20 years, various parties claimed ownership, and the ownerships were challenged in court. But today, certificates of occupancy were issued to various arms of government. What is now of particular interest is the certificate of occupancy given to Angau Hospital. For the last 3 years, there's been much uncertainty over this portion of land, with various parties also claiming ownership.
At least development must come up.
The certificate now gives Angau the right to build on this land. Angau is an important hospital for Papua New Guinea. Apart from its role as a referral hospital for the Momase and the Highlands regions, this is where the cancer unit is located. But over the years, Angau has suffered from management instability and a serious lack of funding support. Over the next 5 years, new buildings will be constructed. It will also include accommodation and a new cancer treatment facility. Earlier this week, the Australian government announced that the tender for the construction of the new nursing quarters has already opened. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Lae.
A PNG Defence Force soldier has died in a routine training accident. The soldier died after falling several meters from a building in a training session this week in the Southern Highlands province. The Southern Highlands Provincial Administration is shocked at the incident and investigations are underway. The PNG Defence Force hierarchy is yet to make a formal statement on the death. The umbrellas are out again for the first time today as the rains continue for Madang. It's been 7 months of no rain since the drought and the rains are back.
It rained heavily for 2 weeks now, but only during the nights. Today is the first time it rained during the day.
Now we mi sanap tok mi sanap inset lo rain nami tok. Nyama mas nami do like lusim rain. Mi sanap nami lo rain nami oklo tok so. Big pla thank you and me thanking big pla. Lo salim rainy come for. There's so many weeks mi pla stop, so many months mi pla stop without rain.
Night so what the night rainy come down. Now lo disla day mi starting straight lo morning night come na. Mi pla almost that blessing straight long. Medeng na atin by continue go na. Go December na January na go.
The plants that have withered and died are dancing once again. The grass that lost color are back as green as ever, and the rivers that have gone dry during the 7 months drought are not only alive once again after this second week of rain, they're flooding. Surely the rains are back, the dust is gone, the green is back. But what happens if the rains continue at this pace? This may be the beginning of another disaster, floods this time. So the Provincial Disaster Office is now appealing to everyone to be mindful. Rachel Shise, National MTV News, Madang.
You're watching National MTV News, a story on the passion to serve and advice for PNG's families to plan. Those stories and more when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Simbu Provincial Police Commander Albert Belli says police have been carrying out periodic raids on areas where marijuana cultivation has been reported. The efforts have been strongly supported by the Simbu Provincial Government. All districts within the province have been targeted because of a rise in the drug trade. Mr. Belli said marijuana use had become a serious concern because high school and primary school aged children are also using the drug, with teachers reporting that drug use is affecting academic results within the province. A woman court magistrate is amongst 5 awardees of the 2015 CPL Pride of Papua New Guinea Awards. These women were recognized under 6 unique categories for the various services in their communities. The awards presentations were held last night at Parliament's State Function Room.
It's an honor for me to come like this.
Josephine Durua is a woman court magistrate. She provides counseling for women who are victims of physical or sexual abuse. In 2001, she was accused of practicing sorcery by a female pastor and was assaulted by her own family. Mrs. Durua took legal actions against her accuser and won the battle in court.
Because I'm innocent, I'm not a witchcraft, and people accuse me like this, I'm not guilty of what they are doing because I'm innocent. I don't understand why they are doing these things to me.
The CPL Pride of Papua New Guinea Awards for Women is a women empowerment program. It recognizes women and the work they do in their respective communities. It began in 2007. This is the 8th year of awarding awards to women in Papua New Guinea. Through these awards, women are supported by CPL to continue their work in assisting people in their communities.
And must continue to work towards the promotion of the status of women in all the spheres of public life.
The Care and Compassion Award was presented to Delma Lopang, a primary school teacher from New Ireland. Ms. Lopang graduated with a diploma in primary teaching and has been teaching children between 3 to 8 years old, including adults. Olivia Bunari is a nursing graduate and a well-respected woman in a community. She is the recipient of the 2015 Community Spirit Award. She was recognized for her passion to educate children in the Oro LLG of Northern Province. Education Role Model, Environment and Young PNG are 3 of the other categories of awards.
And as women, we can work harder in making respectful, supportive relationships with each other so we can meet our full potential.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Westpac Managing Director Jeff Toon says innovative ways of presenting financial information can assist entrepreneurs make better business decisions. He said this today during the final day of the Certified Practicing Accountants Conference at the Gateway Hotel in Port Moresby. Eric Harupma with this report.
Speaking at the annual Certified Practicing Accountants Conference today, Westpac Managing Director Jeff Toon said it is crucial for entrepreneurs to have easy access to make better decisions. He highlighted that the next phase of development in this profession must consider this to aid in the decision making to steer developments.
What I'm trying to say is big reports aren't always helpful for executive. Big reports might have the required content in there.
Toon encouraged more than 400 participants to envision innovative ways of presenting financial information that could be used to save decision making of entrepreneurs. He said executives of this nation must take a close look towards financial information system and presenting innovative ways that can aid decision making to enhance further developments of accountants of this nation. Tony said the 4 aspects of an entrepreneur can develop innovative ways to present information are networking story, information gathering, training component and education.
We try to make it very relevant to what's happening around the world and specifically within Papua New Guinea.
This conference aids to develop a strong caliber of professionals of the CPA industry who are always seeking ways to ensure the industry maintains its reputation. Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
The 420 kilometers New Britain Highway between East and West New Britain provinces will need additional funding to put the road at a usable condition. The East New Britain Department of Works revealed that 20 million kina allocated through the 2016 national budget is insufficient. NGI Regional Works Manager Gilbert Kapi says the 20 million kina will most likely be used as back payments for accumulated expenses owed to contractors over the years.
At least 60 million kina has already been spent on the initial construction phase of the New Britain Highway, and that include outstanding amounts to private contractors. The Works Department, meanwhile, is supervising 4 different contractors that are building various sections of the 420 kilometers highway. Today, the island's Region Works Manager, Gilbert Kapi, said they will need more than the given budget to bring the highway to a usable standard.
Be a little bit expensive to construct them. Maybe more. They would need more than the 20 million that we have to construct those roads. We have a big challenge still ahead of us. We believe that government will continue to fund this project until fully completed.
The New Britain Highway got an increase of 10 million kina in the 2016 national budget handed down earlier this month. While the funding is welcoming, Mr. Kapi said they are also planning to downsize their work so that they use the allocated 20 million kina efficiently, and building new bridges is at the top of their list.
If we have to make the road open for lighter vehicles, non-4-wheel drives, we have to get those bridges constructed.
A bridge like this may cost up to 4 million kina, depending on its geography, and there are 4 similar bridges that are yet to be built. Their total cost is expected to go beyond the allocated 20 million kina budget, the works manager says.
To construct a bridge is quite expensive. Just a rough cost We might need maybe more than 10 million to build Lower Toru. That's how expensive a bridge is.
While the Works Department is working on connecting the missing links between the two provinces, it says it will need to source more funding from within its recurrent budget if the highway is to be completed on time. The Works manager says they are working on readjusting their work plans on the highway without creating more costs. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Parents in Papua New Guinea are having too many children they cannot look after. This was revealed by NGOs and civil society groups during the launch of the 20 Days of Activism earlier this week. While the world celebrates Universal Children's Day today, PNG parents are being urged to be more responsible with their children and family planning.
The launch of the 20 Days Activism revealed that many parents are ignoring their responsibilities of raising children in a safe and healthy environment.
Many parents very much recognize the rights of children, but unfortunately some parents are, they have too many children, and so they must remember the first responsibility is to make sure that they have the number of children that they can actually bring up and look after.
Institute of National Affairs Director Paul Baker said parents must be aware that planning of their children is a form of children's right, where every child being born into a family must be given equal care.
Don't just freely go into producing so many more children than you actually can afford. You have the time to actually look after fairly and equally. So that's a first responsibility. You have a responsibility for your children even before they're born.
The United Nations Universal Children's Day was established in 1954, and it is celebrated every year to promote awareness on improving children's rights and welfare. In PNG, the lack of awareness has contributed a lot to human rights abuse. However, the launch of the 20 Days Activism with its awareness campaign is trying to end that trend.
Children have the right to school, children have the right to many things that we can think of, and then we don't give the adults doesn't give them opportunity to have enjoyment of.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3390 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3320 $0.4585 Australian dollars, $0.3060 euro, and 40.49 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold closed lower, while coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day higher. Palm oil and copper closed lower, while crude oil closed the day higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed 5 points higher, the ASX closed at 54 points higher, the All Ordinaries closed at 56 points higher as well. You're watching National EMTV News. You're with Friday's news. Papua leader released and the city of Sinja in ruins. We'll have all the details after the break. Welcome back to the news. Gordon International School hosted a student art exhibition at its school grounds featuring students' work in various art forms. The exhibition started on Wednesday and will run into next week, where parents, guests and senior classes of the school are invited to show their support for young talent in arts and craft. United States Ambassador to Papua New Guinea, Walter North, also paid a visit to the exhibition today, along with school board members.
We're here today at the Gordon International School, where we see the work of grades 2, 3 and 4 as they merge their own ideas with the work of famous European artists.
So the teachers and I work together. We work as a group to come up with, because we need to appreciate an artwork from a country.
United States Ambassador Walter North attended the exhibition today and commended the staff and students of Gordon International School for the outstanding presentation.
That Papua New Guinea has incredibly talented people, and when you have an opportunity to come here and see where it starts at an early age and to see the amazing things that these children have done, it's a reminder of what brings the people of the world together.
On display were the notable Japanese footbridge by Claude Monet and Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, depicted through colorful arts and crafts.
This is actually a project worked on 2 classes that we've all been working. We've been working on this for 2 weeks, and it's a big project.
We've been trying to replicate the Japanese foot bridge, which is one of his most famous paintings of Claude Monet.
The exhibition will continue through to next week. Lorraine Gabina, National MTV News.
Turning overseas now, and a Papuan leader who was jailed by Indonesia more than a decade ago for raising West Papua's Morning Star flag has been received by jubilant supporters after he was released from prison yesterday. Philip Kama's release comes amidst renewed hopes that the Indonesian government could be relaxing its approach towards Papuan political prisoners. Kama is one of several political prisoners currently held in Indonesian jails accused of supporting pro-independence activities. The region's biggest annual trade fair, the MSG Trade Fair, is currently underway in Numia, New Caledonia. Over 60 exhibitors and entrepreneurs from Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu and New Caledonia are participating at the event, which wraps up tomorrow. Papua New Guinea is represented by PNG Forest Products, PNG Cocoa and Coconut Institute, Paradise Foods, Vitis Industries and others. The aim of the Investment Roadshow is to showcase possible areas of investment opportunities in Melanesia and showcase products manufactured within Melanesia with the hope of establishing markets within the region. And that ends our news segment. We'll be back with Trukai Sports after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Telecom National Soccer League Northern Challenge begins at Lays Sir Ignatius Kilaga Stadium on Saturday. 3 games will be played. 2014 champions Lay City Dwellers will be playing newcomers Goroka Gosia in the main game. Bethany Harriman reports.
Lay soccer fans will have a treat this weekend on Saturday. 3 Telecom National Soccer League games will be held here at the Sir Ignatius Kilaga Stadium. The first game, Admiral FC takes on Walgris FC. The second game, a much younger Besta United side will take on last year's runner-up, Medang FC. And the much anticipated game, the newcomers, Goroka Gosia FC, will take on Lay City Dwellers. 2014 Telecom National Soccer League champions, Lay City Dwellers, have had a full preparation. Last night, players attended a dedication and they have received continuous support from club patron and Morobe Governor Kelly Naru. 2 weeks ago, they received additional funding to help them with their campaign for this year. Their game against newcomers Goroka Gosia FC was supposed to be held in Goroka at the National Sports Institute, but it's going to be played here at the Sir Ignatius Kilaga Stadium on Saturday in front of a home crowd. These games in Lay is the beginning of the Northern Conference Round 1 fixtures. This year's Telecom National Soccer League season is expected to be a real blockbuster. Bethany Harriman, National MTV Sports, Lay.
Still on soccer, Goroka Soccer has been inconsistent in recent years. This year, they have managed to put a team into the Telecom National Soccer League competition with great support from business houses and the provincial government. Development plans for the code have been further put into place to further develop the sport within the province.
With backing from the National Sports Institute, the provincial government and local business houses.
All these people are really supporting us to see that we achieve something this year, and hopefully next year it will be bigger and better for us.
Soccer in the province was in doubt. They never thought they would have a team in the NSL.
Exciting time for us. It comes with a lot of expectations and challenges, which we thought we were not going to take for this season, but we are very fortunate that we are taking this step.
Goroka may have the leading soccer association in the Highlands region, not only having a team in the NSL this season, but in terms of development of the sport and the discovery of new talent being showcased in the province. The Gosias will be going into the tournament as underdogs. The first match against Lay City Dwellers will be big, as Captain Semi Sasame says they'll be taking the comp each game at a time.
Well, basically, I know it's our first game, but we're gonna take each game at a time, but we're gonna be more defensive, and yeah, we'll do our best.
Elijah Lavette, National MTV Sports.
The FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup will bring unprecedented attention to Papua New Guinea as a host nation for international sporting events. These comments were made by FIFA representative to PNG, Seamus Martins, at the launch of the Telecom National Soccer League this week.
Attracting a global audience in the millions, the inaugural tournament featured under-19 women's teams from 12 nations across world football's 7 confederates. With the USA conceding just 2 goals and scoring 26 on their way to winning the final. Initially, spectator statistics revealed just under 300,000 people in total attendance to matches, and that trend continued with the recent Under-20 World Cup held in Montreal in 2014. For Papua New Guinea, the opportunity is a one-of-a-kind chance. And that is something not lost on FIFA representative Seamus Martins, who said that during the launching of the new season of the Telecom National Soccer League on Wednesday evening.
Next year? Yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. It's finding world-class facilities and world-class training grounds for these 16 teams that are coming to Papua New Guinea to train on. So that's been our biggest challenge, but we're confident now with the support of the government that we're going to be able to deliver those and put on a fantastic show. Yeah, I think that's one of our biggest challenges, is to just explain to people how big it is. Broadcast audience of over 174 million, over 100 countries will receive the pictures from here in Papua New Guinea. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and the best under-20 Women's World Cup players around.
The sentiments expressed by the PNG Sport Foundation were also the same.
Now mind you, 2016 is going to be a very rare year for Papua New Guinea. Why? Because it's the first time one particular code is going to hold its World Cup in this particular region. Seize the opportunity, soccer. There are other codes out there that are just dying to be in your shoes.
The FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup is the 8th edition of the tournament, and the competition will be hosted here in Papua New Guinea and will run from November the 13th to the 3rd of December 2016. Now, from the Asian region, we have Japan, North and South Korea, who have already qualified. From Europe, France, Germany, Sweden and Spain. And from the Oceania region, heavyweights New Zealand as well as Papua New Guinea. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
The recent 2015 Oceania Sevens Championships has highlighted the need for PNG Rugby Football Union to invest in establishing a bigger player base. Coach Douglas Guys was forced to rest his 3 casualties, Emmanuel Guys, Billy Torrea and Arthur Clement, due to the fact that he did not have a player base to select from for the upcoming HSBC Hong Kong Sevens tournament.
The PNG Pukpuks travelled as a team of 12 but lost 3 men due to injuries sustained over the weekend. Billy Torrea returned with a potential fracture to his medial anterior ligament and Arthur Clements with a fractured finger. While this may pose as a threat to the national side for the HSBC Hong Kong Sevens next year, interim coach Douglas Guys has made a call to rest these key players.
On the second day we had major injuries to Billy Torrea. I think he did a medial in his knee. Emmanuel Guys, Arthur Clement, I think he's got a fractured finger, and we had a suspension to Wesley Valley. So we ended up more or less playing with 8 men on the second day.
Over the past few tournaments, it has been a reoccurrence that the team has finished with 8 out of 12 men. He says in Sevens rugby, this becomes a threat to the team's overall performance.
We only take 12 on tour, so once the 4 were pretty much gone, we had to play with 8, so we only had like 1 reserve the second day. You've seen the last couple of tournaments, we finished off with 8 and 9 men respectively, which is, in Sevens you can't do that. Once you lose a guy for a day, you're sort of chasing the game or chasing the tournament, so we really need to restructure our programs. And
Guys has made an impromptu request to the PNG RFU to look at restructuring their programs, which will in turn allow for an in-depth player base.
We don't have a player base to depth in our player base to play at that level, so I couldn't risk them on the second day, so they should be fine after a few weeks.
The need for a wider player base is probably the code's biggest call at this point in time. Now, heading into the Hong Kong Sevens, the team cannot afford to lose players along the likes of Butler Morris, Billy Torrea and Emmanuel Guys if there isn't a good enough player base to select from. Lorraine Genia, National, EMTV Sports.
Here with Trukai Sports, the Hunter squad for 2016 has been announced and nothing visible yet for the PNG Games in Kimbe. All that after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The SPPNG Hunters squad has been announced for the 2016 season. Coach Michael Marum confirmed his 36-man train-on squad this week in Port Moresby. While Marum has tried to maintain the core of the team from this season, Israel Eliab, Gary Lowe and Kato Otio have not been named amid speculations they would be joining rugby league clubs in the United Kingdom and Australia. MTV's Jaylee Sapias has this update.
Blenda Bavu, Wartovo Puara, Asebos with 14 other seasoned hunters have been named alongside 19 new faces for the train-on squad for the 2016 pre-season. In a telephone interview with Hunters coach Michael Marum, he spoke of the introduction of a new and fresh Hunters team.
Yes, a good number of new players coming to the space. With the experience from this year's squad, we try to maintain all our players from this year. That all fit ready to play again in 2016.
With a mass of new players introduced to the squad, Marum is looking forward to working with the new additions, as he says this creates opportunities for the development of rugby league in the country.
There's a lot of young boys there, mostly coming through the junior program. So, but I think one player that probably played well against the Australian Prime Minister, studying Justin Ola. He's one of those young kids that coming through.
While the Hunters have lost Kato Otio to the Canberra Raiders and Willie Minoga to the Townsville Blackhawks, there have been questions raised about the exclusion of Israel Eliab.
Captain Israel has been one of the best players this year. He's heading down to England, so he'll try and give it a crackdown there and see how it goes.
The loss of these key players are expected to affect the team's performance in next year's Intra-Super Cup season. This will place a huge task on Marum's hands to develop the new players into the roles left behind by Israel Eliab and Kato Otio. While Israel Eliab is yet to confirm his departure from the SPPNG Hunters and PNG Kumuls, there is speculation on the star halfback signing with a rugby league club in England, as confirmed by SP Hunters coach Michael Marum. Jaylee Sapias, National MTV Sports.
There are no signs of preparations in Kimbe, West New Britain Province for the 2016 PNG Games. This has raised doubts as to whether the Games will take place. Godwin Eki with this report.
Since the successful 2014 PNG Games in Lae last year, followed by the successful 2015 Pacific Games, West New Britain Province was announced to be the next host of the 2016 PNG Games. Next year, in November, Kimbe will host the Games, where other 22 provinces around the country who will send their top sportsmen and women to represent their province. 2014 PNG Games saw the host province Lae affiliate 23 different sporting codes and taking the lead as the winning province of the 2014 PNG Games, with Central Province in the second place, followed by Team NCD in third placing. Next year's game will see Lae fight against the rest of PNG to retain their winning title, but for now, host province is yet to announce how many sports it can host, but that will entirely depend on the PNG Sports Foundation to work closely with the host province. With only 1 year away to the next PNG Games, preparations as to where the Games will be hosted in Kimbe Town looks empty and no work has been done to the lead up to the Games. Equipments for the Games will either be transported by sea and air just in time for the Games. Meanwhile, athletes around the country still have their minds filled with 2015 Pacific Games memories, as well as looking forward to their national and international tournaments, as well as the 2015 Rio Olympic qualifiers.
With only 12 months remaining to the 2016 PNG Games, as you can see right here where I'm standing, this is the land that still needs to be cleared for the Games that are happening next year in November. Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports, Kimbe.
To rugby abroad now, and after an outstanding rugby career, All Blacks captain Richie McCaw announced his retirement from rugby. After achieving everything in the sport, the 35-year-old announced that his last match was the final of the 2015 Rugby World Cup.
I guess, it was a
this announcement of that, well, really is I'm going to be hanging up my boots at the end of my rugby days. So that's why I wanted to let people know that my last game for the All Blacks and as a professional rugby player was the World Cup final a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, the end of something that's been a big part of my life.
And that ends Trukai Sports for tonight. Up next, the weather details. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. First of all, in the southern region, mostly fine in Port Moresby, Kerma and Popondetta. In the Mamasi region, brief showers expected in Lae, Madang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe, fine weather in Buka and brief showers in Lorengau and Kavieng. And in the Highlands region, all major centres to expect showers with morning fog. Before we go, recapping our main headlines again. Friday fires in capital city, Angau gets land to relocate, and CPL Pride of PNG Awards recognizes commitment. And that ends the bulletin for tonight. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, have a safe weekend. Good night.